Howdy Heroes Hearth, this is Kyle Fergusson. Today I'm sitting down with Nick of Oxygen Esports. This is a Genji game, as you can see. And welcome to you, Nick.
Hey Kyle. Excited to be doing the guide.
Yeah, excited to see some Genji on the field. You're doing a lot of unique things, a unique build for you as well, but we'll get into all that as we go on. This was a last pick Genji versus Granit Gaming. This is game 4 Alterac Pass. So first question, why last pick Genji here, of all the options?
I mean, in general, Genji is the type of hero you would want to last pick. There are quite a few counter picks, so you don't really want to risk picking him early and getting countered. This game we picked him late because outside of their ultimates, they don't really have a lot of CC, which is usually what you're looking for when playing Genji. Other than that, we already had a lot of the macro aspects covered. We had a lot of wave clear. We have a hero that can do the camp, and we have heroes that are fine laning. So we were just looking for a hero that would be good in teamfight. Especially this game, Genji is very good at punishing backline. This game they have Sylvanas, Liming, and Lucio. They're all pretty squishy. It can be one-shot easily. Also, they're pretty mobile, and Genji is one of the few heroes that can actually kill the mobile heroes.
If you can aim, that's definitely a factor of it, right? Like this, it's a thin shot. Like in particular, I mean, we have Swift Strike, which is a very thin line, and then your shurikens are not exactly easy to use. I mean, do you try to hug the enemy hero when they're a small model, so all three go into them, or you just sort of focus more on getting auto attacks?
It depends on the hero actually. So against these heroes like Lucio or Sylvanas or Liming, it's usually not worth trying to hit the shurikens on them unless they are CC'd. So you usually try and trade with auto attacks. Against the bigger targets or maybe less mobile targets like a Anubarak or the Chen, you want to try to walk into melee range to hit all the 3 shurikens.
So we're already seeing what you talked about there with the amount of lane clear and objective clear you guys got. You got Blaze and Johanna going. You got Lunara, who's going to be good at that as well. Rhaegar's doing the camps for you. And so you're just free to roam. Are you?
Yeah. Sorry.
Are you looking for anything particular in these rooms? Is it when you're moving from top to bottom, kind of what's your eye seeing?
Yeah, so early game, I mean, right now you can see me clearing a wave, which happens sometimes when no one else is doing it. Or
sure.
Because, well, right now my team is going to do the hard camp, so that's why I'm laning top for now. Other than that, if there's no lanes to talk, I'm usually looking to gank some of the sidelines. It's this game, we probably won't get kills because the heroes are quite mobile. And we don't have too much CC to set up kills before level 10.
That would be like the Johanna shield and that sort of business?
Yeah, that's once we're level 10, but early game we are not looking to do too much.
You mentioned some heavy Genji counters that could come up in draft and why you'd want to last pick him. Are those still kind of our Storm League knowledge of things like Uther Varian, or is there other things that more of a tournament player has in mind?
No, it's pretty much the point and click that you want because of Genji's mobility. Brightwing, Uther are very good, and for tanks it's yeah, Diablo Varian.
You do a lot of auto attacking, which I know when I play Genji I'm horrible at it, but I always run out of mana. So is that something that you're avoiding here by clearing lanes without abilities? You know, even though Shuriken's only 20 mana, I guess that would get pretty pricey over time of clearing.
Yeah, a lot of the mana or deflect costs a lot of mana, so you wanna not press that ability too much unless you really need it.
Yeah. So something I often see that their quick match Genjis do is they end up going level 1 into the jump with the agile dismount. They jump into a lane as it's collapsing, then hit the deflect, and then walk away. And that's kind of their rhythm, is they go back, they jump in, deflect, and then run away.
Yeah, it's very taxing on mana.
That would explain that would explain the issue I'm having. So here we can see you kind of covering that lane. I mean, right now you're not really going to pressure them out. So are you thinking more just staying safe, or what presence do you have here in the bottom?
I mean, here it's kind of not the greatest situation since we died with Rhaegar and they're capping our objective and at the same time pushing bot. So we're just kind of trying to stabilize here. I was just trying to poke them a little bit, clear the minions, so they would stop pushing and I can recall.
Let's talk about the talents that have happened so far, because your main build, or at least the build you've done repeatedly in CCL so far, has been more of like an agile dismount Shuriken mastery. So in this game, you've changed that up with more of this Swift Strike build. What's kind of the core difference in why you picked Swift Strike here?
It's kind of the whole build. So I'm going for the Dragon Blade build. And if you go with Dragon Blade, you usually, or pretty much always, want the E on one. You were saying earlier how their backline heroes are very difficult to hit because they're mobile and have pretty small hitboxes.
Yeah.
And that's actually a part of why I do go for the Dragon Blade, because with the Dragon Blade, they are very easy to hit.
Okay.
Unlike X-Strike, which is pretty much impossible to hit on these mobile heroes unless they're CC'd. So
you mentioned that you're waiting for your own team's CC to kind of come online with that Johanna. Is Genji a hero that should be pretty reserved until his own level 10 with either X-Strike or Dragon Blade?
If you are going for the Dragon Blade build, it's the whole build kind of revolves around Dragon Blade. Outside of it, you don't do too much. If you're going for the X-Strike and the Agile Demount build, you can do a lot more without having the ult up. And X-Strike also has less cooldown.
Now, in this moment here, I mean, Dragon Blade is a pretty hefty cooldown. You got 100 seconds to get a Sylvanas. Sylvanas also traded with you a rather long cooldown ability in her arrow. So is this just getting a kill, just clearing out the lane, or was there another tactical decision? Or because
sorry?
Or did it actually end up being more of a win because she ended up using the arrow and then you traded ults on top of getting the kill?
So what happened was that he threw all of his spells into me, his Q, W, and auto attacks, and I deflected all of them. And because I had the level 7 augmented guard, I actually got a huge shield. And he didn't expect it, and so he eat in, which was really bad of him. But after I didn't expect him to E in, but then he did, and I was like, well, I guess I'll kill him. I didn't need that. Yeah, I didn't really need the Dragon Blade, but I just wanted to make sure to get the kill.
Sure, well, and I mean, would that be something you feel like you were missing in this situation here, like this middle fight? Would that be something you'd want a Dragon Blade?
Yeah, exactly. So usually it's not worth to use Dragon Blade just to get one kill.
Fair enough. So
you want to use it for team pads.
In this build, you got, in the other build we talked about, the X-Strike based one, you use Agile Dismount to kind of go in deep. You use Shuriken Mastery maybe to wear them down. Looks like you also take Cyber Shield with that one, but that might be dependent on the individual game. And then X-Strike for easy to hit targets. So this is more because when you're Dragon Blading, you can also Swift Strike.
Yeah. It's because these, I could have even taken, actually usually I take Dragon Claw on level 4 as well. This game I didn't think about it, so I didn't take it. The reason you want these talents is because they do something while you're in the Dragon Blade, whereas the Shuriken Mastery, for example, since you can't press your Q during Dragon Blade, so the talent doesn't do anything. With this build, ideally you pick talents that all work during your Dragon Blade.
Okay.
So you want to have the most impact you can have during your Dragon Blade.
Yeah, it's kind of an Odin situation with Tychus doing the attack speed. It's just merely that it works during an Odin. And so this build,
exactly,
because you're going Dragon Blade, works for Dragon Blade. Does Dragon Claw work during Dragon Blade?
Yeah, you can use it as well. It's because it's an active.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Can you deflect during Dragon Blade?
Yep.
Okay, so you can't do shurikens, which is why you would never want to do shuriken talents during a Dragon Blade build.
You actually can auto attack, and you did see me take the auto attack on 13. It's mostly because the E which is the only alternative. It's super unreliable, I find. And with the auto attack, with the extra range, it actually helps you poke before the team fight. You can auto attack frontline a lot easier, and you also do a bit more damage.
I actually was wondering about that, because often we're seeing you auto attack maybe the Chen or the Anubarak. It's not that you're going in deep and then starting to auto attack. Usually when you dash in, you're doing a spell and then kind of walking your way out. So is the auto attack just free damage? Nothing you're really concerned about while your eyes are actually looking somewhere else?
Yeah, so you don't want to go in right at the beginning of a team fight. You kind of want to wait until your opponents use some spells. Especially this game, they have Anubarak and Sylvanas, who have the Cocoon and the Silence Arrow. So I kind of had to wait those out before I could go in with my Dragon Blade. And with the auto attack on 13, I can have a lot more impact without having to use my ult. So before a teamfight starts, I poke down the tanks, I auto attack them a little bit until they use some spells, and then I go in with the Dragon Blade.
So watching for an opportunity to maybe go into that backline, get a kill, but also counting, particularly this would be, well, I guess Sylvanas with the silencing arrow, but frontline, Uthers, any sort of stuns, counting those out and seeing if you can see a window that is open. Yeah,
exactly. You have to make sure that, because this build revolves so much around the Dragon Blade, you want to make sure that you're getting value out of it. If I would use my Dragon Blade, go in and get cocooned and sit in the cocoon for 8 seconds, my whole build would be useless.
That makes perfect sense. So when you go in, there was a cocoon, but it didn't really cost you anything in the sense because Deflect's still up, Dragon Blade's still up. They got you out really fast as well. When do you use Deflect? Yeah. There's not a Lunar over there. There's not like an on fire Muradin. These sort of extreme deflect situations. How do you know when to pop it?
So it always depends on matchups and on draft. So this game they have Sylvanas, who is actually a very good target. She's very weak to the deflect, as you saw earlier when I killed her. It's because she used all her auto attacks, E, W, and Q, into my deflect, and so just to the deflect alone, she lost half her HP. Then there's Li Ming. If you can deflect the Li Ming combo, especially with the level 7 talent Augmented Guard, you get a huge shield. This game I'm playing on ping, so it's a bit difficult to reactively activate the deflect. So I'm kind of using that predictively. I kind of have to predict their spells.
That's really impressive. That's amazing, because we just saw you go over the wall there, and it looked like you used a spacebar to sort of readjust your camera. Basically saying, I know where I want to go. I'll see when I get there if I'm in the right spot. And
it was really close. With the spacebar, because Genji is so mobile and you can cover large distances so quickly, you kind of have to adjust or move your camera to where you're going to move, so that once you move in, your hero is centered as much as possible. Otherwise, just so that you don't dash off the screen.
Yeah, we see this in a number of fights, particularly when they're a little slower, the front lines are engaging, Chen is drinking. We can see you kind of making a nice camera shot for yourself that's more focused on the back line, not really concerned about your rear or anything sneaking up behind you. But then once things start going, it's so hectic, you have to use that spacebar to readjust yourself back in.
Yeah, exactly. So here I actually get caught. I get cocooned, then, well, spoilers, I'm just going to die. Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, once I'm cocooned, there's nothing to do.
I mean, on cooldown, right? Enemy had to spend some stuff on you.
Yeah, well, it was pretty bad because we were quite ahead. It happened because I think there was some miscommunication. I wanted to clear the top wave, and I think someone during comms said they were all mid, so I was pretty confident I could clear the wave, and so I used my E to clear the wave. But then Anubarak came, I didn't have my E ready, and so I just died.
Well, particularly in our higher league situations in Storm League, we see this with abilities like Cocoon, where they're willing to just lock down a Genji and then line up everything. Doesn't happen a lot in the lower leagues, but it is a really good way for the enemy team to kind of get that lead back here, trading bosses. And you, I believe, are going to get caught clearing this quite a bit too.
Yeah, don't exactly remember. What I do remember is that we let them get the objective, I think. But because we are still quite far ahead on the map, we can actually ignore the objective. I think we give out our own keep, but we 2 keeps of theirs.
Okay, so Lunar actually ended up clearing that for us. Let's talk about the final cut, which is actually the ability you go on the majority of your Genji builds.
Yeah, I think I pretty much always take it. The Steady Blade is very inconsistent. You have to hit 3 people with your E for it to be good. And then the other alternative is Reflect, which it's also quite inconsistent. Because when you're reflecting, you kind of have to hope for your opponents to attack you. And so, especially against higher skilled players, they are better at not attacking into your deflect. So Final Cut is just the most consistent.
After 1 second, Swift Strike deals additional damage to all enemies in the area. So is this just the go-to regardless of build, X Strike across all the builds?
Yeah, pretty much. You get a little bit of extra damage. It also helps, well, sometimes you might have to clear minion wave, or it helps for a little bit of boss damage as well. So
oh, yeah, that's interesting.
It's pretty good all around.
Yeah, because and I've seen you kind of using that Swift Strike there as the link comes in that straight line, you dash across them to try to clear it a little faster. And here's a situation where we kind of see that pop there as you go in. Level 20, the Dragon Becomes Me. Each time Dragon Blade hits an enemy hero, the duration of Dragon Blade is increased by 0.5 seconds. If an hero is killed within 1.5 seconds of being hit by Dragon Blade, Swift Strike's cooldown is reset.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite talents in the game. It got nerfed a lot, unfortunately. It used to be even better. But it's still really good. Basically, it allows for like the YouTube montage pop-off plays where you kind of kill everyone and get the resets, because it's a baseline without the 20 upgrade. It's a lot more difficult to get the resets on your E. But with the 20 talent, it's quite a lot easier. And so it's easier to get the resets, and it allows also you get a little bit of extra, or actually quite a lot extra duration on Dragon Blade. So it's actually really powerful on level 20.
Is there any other level 20 you would think about? Outside, you say this is just fun. Like clearly you enjoy it in the clips being taken. But is there another one that comes up in certain situations?
Not really. I mean, unless I'm going, I pretty much always take the ult upgrade. So if I play extra, I take extra upgrade. With Dragon Blade, I take Dragon Blade. The Q does very little. And the Sunshin deflect. Although I'm pretty sure this game, if you can hover over my W, you can see how much I deflected.
Oh, interesting.
Actually, I only deflected 3k this game. So I wouldn't have completed the quest.
Oh, right.
Usually I have the quest completed by 20. Or I would have it, but I still don't take it. Because it's kind of similar to the 16, it's very inconsistent, because you do rely on your opponents hitting your deflect, which is not always in your control.
That makes perfect sense. It sounds like you can basically judge if deflect is worth talenting into a 20 if you completed the quest already.
Yeah, exactly.
So that makes perfect sense. We're kind of learning that Genji is very dependent, or maybe his greatest impact is when he uses his level 10 ability, the heroic ability, to go into that team fight. Outside of that, you're looking for little cleanup moments. Maybe you can use the Lunara's poison or another high damage assassin to open up opportunities for you. But once you count out the CC in the front line, see a lower target you can go into, then it's time to go in, use your heroic, and then maybe help manage the map during the downtime.
Yeah, and that's pretty much exactly what's going to happen in the next team fight. You'll see at the beginning, so here we have pretty good positioning. Our opponents have to walk into us. So we just attack them a little bit, poke them. I will be hitting Chen, but it's Chen, so he doesn't take any damage.
Yeah, and And this is one of those situations where it seems like you're just looking, at least in our broadcast view, it looked like you were watching the rest of the team fight. Chen was just the thing to do in the in-between.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting some stacks for my level 13 talent, but it doesn't really matter too much. I'm kind of just waiting for things to happen, for them to use some spells. Which is gonna happen now. I'm mainly looking for Cocoon and the arrow. They use Cocoon on Lunara. And then Savannah's about to go in and use arrow. And then right after that, I'm gonna use my Dragon Blade and do as much as I can.
Perfect. Okay, but no matter what, you're gonna lose those 13 stacks during this time, so that really didn't play into the dragon bit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much. It's just the only thing to do at that time. Yeah, it went pretty well for us.
Yeah, no, that was a really solid cleanup. And the amount of ground you covered was really impressive.
Yeah, it's because I got the E reset because of the level 20 talent. And actually, also the expert duration also helped a lot for getting the last kill there.
If an enemy hero is killed with 1.5 seconds of being hit by Dragon Blade, so strike's cooldown is reset. Yeah, okay.
You just have to hit them with your... Usually you have to hit them with your E to get the reset. But with the 20 talent, you only have to hit them with your Q. And then you still get the E reset.
Right, your new Q while you're under the effects of Dragon Blade.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes perfect sense. That's what allows you to have that high mobility, high impact when everyone's trying to divide up during the Dragon Blade, because no one wants to stand together in that moment. They're all going to spread out so that you're not doing maximum damage. And now you have the mobility to actually chase them. Exactly.
I got the Ancestral, which is another... So usually when you're playing Dragon Blade, especially in Storm League, you might go in, and even if you don't get CC'd, you might still die because all your opponents are hitting you. But I got the Ancestral, especially with the 20 Ancestral, which procs twice. I don't have to worry about my HP at all, and because they already used all their CC, there basically was nothing they could do other than trying to avoid me. But there was no way they were going to kill me, so I could play as aggressive as I wanted to.
Thinking about that team fight, is there a situation where they could have held off on those heroics, or was the rest of your team pressuring hard enough that they had to cocoon and they had to use the silence there?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely misplayed a bit because they used all their spells a bit uncoordinated. But yeah, it was a lot because we did pressure them a lot. As we were also capping getting the objective, and we had a very good positioning advantage. So our opponents were very pressured to do something, and they might have been panicking a little bit, and that's probably why they kind of just pressed their buttons and hope something would happen. But yeah,
sure. In the state of the
really
map,
work out.
Yeah, the state of the map, you already had an opening to take victory, so they had to make something happen in that situation. So
yeah, exactly.
Is this a pretty common place to... I mean, this looks... Coming from my own Storm League games, this looks like an amazing number for Genji to have right there next to Lunara above the rest of the enemy team. I mean, is this where you would expect a good Genji to have their damage number, or is it usually lower because they're just kind of clean up?
Yeah, usually I would say it's lower, especially if you go... I mean, with this build, it highly depends on how well you do in teamfight. Luckily, I think the last teamfight made up for a lot of it.
Some of this might be padded by hitting Chen.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, I mean, usually you're more like an execute hero, and so you don't usually do a lot of overall damage. You're mostly there to get the kills. This game, I did get 5 kills as well, so that worked out. But yeah, I don't think you should usually expect to do that much overall damage.
Is this the build you would recommend if someone saw this video and was like, all right, I'm going to play Genji right now. I'm going to go into quick match. I'm going to learn this hero. Or would you go with more of that X-Strike agile dismount? Is that easier to play?
Yeah, I mean, this build is heavily revolves around team fighting. And since competitive games, especially at a higher level, they're a lot about team fighting, and there isn't too much going on outside of that. in Storm League, I usually don't take it unless I want to go for some YouTube montages or something. So usually I would recommend the X-Strike game. You don't rely on that 100-second 100-second cooldown. You can do a lot more outside of your ultimate. And then even with X-Strike, it only has 60-second cooldown, I think. So it's usually a lot better at Storm League, which is more brawlery and random.
Makes perfect sense. Well, thank you for the rundown on Genji. Everyone watching here, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell for more Learn to Play, Here's the Storm content, and of course, the ongoing CCL Season 4.